Hello, everybody. Good evening, and thank you for joining me tonight for this webinar to give you heads up on what Google's all about with this announcement. And just to make sure that you can hear me, can you just type one in your chat box, just so I know that you hear my voice? Um, we're just going to wait a couple of minutes before we get the rest of the people. Good evening, and thank you for joining me tonight for this webinar to give you heads up on what Google's all about with this announcement. And just to make sure that you can hear me, can you just type one in your chat box just so I know that you hear my voice? Hang on a second here. We're just going to wait a couple of minutes. Okay. Sorry, we had kind of background backup stuff going on at the same time here. So we're back again, and so I hope everybody can hear me. We got a good group tonight, so it should be exciting. So what we're going to do, I'll just pull up my my PowerPoint here, and hopefully you can see that. Can everybody see that? Okay. All right. So I guess we're going to just kind of go over, like, how did we get here? How all of a sudden we all have to do certain things about mobile, and we are being told that our sites are going to be pushed back, going to lose ranking, and we won't be found on the mobile internet, and Google's coming down pretty heavy on all this stuff. So what I'm going to kind of try to do, give you a little bit of history of how everything happened. In any case, my name is Jeff Stark, and I'm a president and CEO of QR Mobile Marketing Company, and we help businesses get more customers using mobile technologies. And of course, mobile is our specialty, and that's what we're talking about tonight. So a little bit about the history here. Going back to 2010, Eric Schmidt, CEO of Google, was at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, and he started promoting mobile first. He says everybody should be thinking mobile. Mobile is going to be a big thing. And of course, in those days, it's amazing how everything happened so quickly. But in 2010, not everybody were taking mobile. Google was about the only one that really saw the future. And Eric said, well, you know, we have smartphone sales that are increasing 30% year over year. Just think what's going to happen in a few years from now. And of course, that's why he was saying that mobile first is the way to go. And as far as Google was concerned, everything they're going to do from now on will be mobile first. And so the next move Google made in 2011, they went out and bought Motorola for $12.5 billion. Now, the reason why they bought Motorola is because Google was always envious of Apple and their iPhone and how successful that was. And they wanted to emulate that by having their own phone. Well, you know, it doesn't work like that. You just can't do things that kind of grow organically like Apple has grown. And the other problem that Google had is that they really had no experience in building hardware, and that's what Motorola was. Now, Motorola had a lot of other patents and things that Google could use, but obviously the experiment didn't work, and eventually in 2012 they sold the company to Lenovo and lost $3 billion on a deal. Now, the reason why Apple is so successful is because they're kind of vertically set up, which means that they own the hardware, they build the hardware, they build the software, and they give you the product. And when a new phone comes up, and a new iPhone, I mean, we pretty much know what it does, how it does it, and it's so easy to go to another new model because it just means a little upgrade in the way things are shown, maybe extra features in that. Now, with Google, the problem was that because they dealt with, um, they deal still with different suppliers of hardware like Nokia and Sony, and of course they have their own phones, Android. They had several different operating systems, and they don't all look the same. And that's always been Google's problem. And I don't think they'll be able to solve it. Obviously, the experiment of trying to build their own hardware didn't work. So that's how we got here right now. So where are we now? Well, here we are. I mean, it's 2015, and this path was predicted by Google way back in 2011 and 2010. That's what Eric was seeing, and it has happened. Mobile searches now have overtaken all desktop searches. We're all on mobile. And it's just the proliferation of these smartphones. They're just fantastic. They're computer in our hands. Just think, I remember my first laptop I bought had like 8 GB drive. I have an iPhone that has 32 GB. And there's some that have 64. I mean, it's amazing how we've been able to put all the technology in such in a small piece of hardware. And so as more people get access to these smartphones, they are spending more time on them, searching and doing business on smartphones. And for that reason, we have not we, but there's problems with cable companies that are losing subscribers. 30% of people no longer have a cable at home, nor do they have, as we used to know, the old phone at home. All they have is the smartphone. Now they'll have a tablet, they may have a notebook or a laptop, but everything starts with the smartphone. And typically, as we know, now we're calling households 3-screen households, where we have the smartphone, we have the tablet, and we have the laptop. Most of the searches will start on the smartphone and then progress to the tablet and the laptop. So that's where we are right now. So we're going to go over the Google changes for mobile SEO, new requirements, and what to do if you're not mobile friendly, and so Google made this announcement on February 26th, saying that effective April 21st, this new mobile friendly thing will happen, and they want everybody to be mobile friendly by April 21st. Well, it isn't going to happen. It's just impossible. I think less than 50% of businesses are mobile friendly at the moment. There was no way you can turn everybody like that on a dime. But I guess by putting some pressure on the businesses, Google will just probably speed up the changeover to mobile friendly applications. Now, Google did tell us earlier, like in November last year, that this is coming. But this is very important because it's the very first time that Google had actually put a date, an effective date on a new announcement. Now with the pandas and whatever other animals they were introducing as changes to SEO, it never really was like, it's effective tomorrow or 6 months from now. It was just, well, it's come in and you have to put up with it and you have to make changes, and websites were lost and destroyed and lost their ranking all along the way with all these different changes. But this time they actually put a date on it. So 21st of April is when we have to be mobile friendly. And so they also are giving us a warning that if we don't have these mobile friendly sites, that we will be losing our ranking and facing demotion in our position on the internet on mobile searches. And we'll go over that. Now, why is all this important? Is because 60% of all searches are from mobile devices, 40% come from desktop. The 60% is going to be increasing almost day by day as more people get smartphones. Now, Google says this change will affect mobile searches in all languages worldwide and will have a significant impact in our search results. Significant. This is very important. It's an important word, significant, because I'll show you how it already is having significant impact on the searches. And that's from Google Webmaster's Central blog. This is just a sentence out of the whole announcement, which is a page long or so. So what are the new rules for mobile-friendly sites? Well, the websites must be in responsive format, Google says. Website must be built as a dynamic, mobile-friendly site. And mobile site built as a standalone website or redirected or self-hosted. So the responsive format is just what it says. It's responsive to the size of the screen. So if you're building in a responsive mode, your site should be visible properly on a smartphone, on a tablet, and on a desktop. Now, there are different responsive themes, as we call them, right? And responsive has been around for some times, but because of changes that are ongoing all the time, the format has been changing and being upgraded so that it, especially as more and more are being viewed on mobile, they are being adjusted so that they show better on mobile. And so that the latest responsive themes, and when I say theme, in simple words, is let's say you want to build a house and you go to the architect to get a plan. All right? You want to build a website, you go to web designer to get a theme. Themes could be responsive or non-responsive. So we're talking about a responsive format. So that means as an architect would make hundreds of different plans, we also have hundreds of different responsive themes. Now, just so you understand that it's not just like cookie cutter one thing, it's not like that. Now, second, the website must be built as a dynamic, mobile friendly. Basically, this is kind of a combination with the responsive format in a sense that when it comes to mobile part of the responsive site, there are certain elements in a mobile that are not important on a desktop. There are certain elements that make it easier to navigate in mobile that are not required on a desktop. And so you could, if you're building in a responsive format today, you got to build dynamic because of these different irregularities, we may call it, is that mobile websites require a certain settings that we don't have on a desktop. So those are the two. And third would be to build a standalone website, mobile website in HTML that is redirected to your desktop site. And that's probably the best way, because in this scenario, you can build into the mobile website certain elements, and we'll go over them later, that are absolutely not available on a desktop and only work and are necessary for the mobile website. Okay, now where were we here? Now, mobile-friendly sites, no is what shouldn't be on a mobile website. What Google says, buttons and text spacing. Remember, we're dealing with a small screen. It's only 2 inches wide, or just a little over 2 inches wide on most of the phones, unless you get some of those bigger ones. And our fingers are not exactly 1/8 of an inch wide or thick. We got fingers, big fingers that need some buttons to click on. And so if the text is too close together, we won't be able to click on it, especially if those happen to be 2 URLs or a telephone number URL. And so that's the important thing. That's what Google bots are looking for when they're scouring the internet, checking your mobile website. We need some legible print. Fonts must be at least 15 pixels or better, so that we can read it, so that we don't have to squint or try to spread or push and so on. And no content wider than a screen. So Google doesn't want any side-to-side movement. In the mobile site, you just go up and down, not side to side. And setting the viewport. Viewport is what we mentioned before, is that the site is visible comfortably on all the screen sizes, like the smartphone and the tablet and the desktop. So there are certain things that that you shouldn't use on a mobile site. Well, for example, Flash. Flash is a technology to show images and video by Adobe, and it pretty much is gone by the way in favor of HTML. So it does not show on any of the Apple devices, iOS. So you got to be careful you don't have any of that stuff on your current website, because it won't show. It'll be just blank. And the other thing is that everything else, like videos and images, have to be scaled down so that they're shown properly on smartphone. And again, so if you're building a website, or if you have a website that has huge images, because of course you're dealing with a big piece of real estate, being the monitor, those things don't always scale down properly to the small screens of the smartphones. Pop-ups are another thing. There are pop-ups that allow website use pop-ups. Well, those are not allowed or will not work on mobile websites. So, but there is an alternative. There are kind of pop-ups, and there are ways of putting kind of similar actions on a mobile, but they have to be mobile optimized. So you just can't use the same thing on mobile as you could use on your desktop. Poorly sized embedded codes like contact forms or any forms for that matter. I don't know if you've been on a website sometimes on your phone, and you have to, like, it's particularly bad with mortgage people. They have these long applications. Now we're dealing with a 2-inch screen, right? And the fields where your name goes and all that are so tiny. Of course, you click on them, they'll expand, right? But you may have 20 fields to fill in. There's no way. I tried to fill one of those. I got to 10 because, you know, you expand, you contract, you expand. I gave up after 10. And that's true with most people. So you got to design forms that are usable on a mobile device. Same with the contact forms. The contact form that's on your desktop will not work friendly on a smartphone. So those are the important things try to avoid. Google really only cares that you provide the user-friendly content on a mobile-friendly platform. That's all they really care. They'll pass anything that's in their estimation after they look at your site with their Google bots. If they feel it's mobile-friendly, they'll pass it and give you the passing grade. But that's all they really want. They just want the customer to have good experience. They don't want them to come to your site, try to stretch and push, and then walk away. That doesn't help anybody. Now, we're talking about these changes taking place April 21st. Well, some have already taken place, and this is what's happening now. On your left side up there, this is screenshots from my iPhone. I did a search of bike shops in Kelowna, for example. It'll be any search. Right on top, on the left side, those are paid searches. And you may have up to 3 up there. There's only 1 in this case. Below the paid searches come the map search. This is the standard Google map search that will show 7 listings on any search. But the next part of the search is new. This is where your reputation shows. So these listings here with the reputation are part of those 7 listings there. And this is where the SEO doesn't work anymore on mobile. Well, it works, but you can't do it all with SEO. You have to, now Google is forcing you to use reputation as a ranking tool. Your reputation will give you the better ranking, not just SEO. So one of the most important messages for businesses I can have, you go out and get reviews from your customers, your happy customers. Get 5-star reviews. Post them to directories. And there are some 20, 25 directories you could post them on, or, that these reviews can be posted on. And Google's good enough to go and search those and show Yelp and show different search results on reviews, so yeah, as well as their own. Then the next comes the organic searches, right? And I want to point out this on this Kelowna cycle here. You see in gray, just under the URL, says mobile friendly. So this is the new designation that websites will get if once Google bots go on through them and deem that they're mobile friendly, will get this designation. Google will put that on them on these sites for you. And so 1, 2, 3 are mobile friendly. The fourth one is not, here where the other red arrow is. Now, as more sites get this mobile friendly designation, the ones that don't will be pushed down. And this is where Google said it is significant, it will have a significant impact on your ranking. So not only that you're losing space to the reviews, you're also going to be losing your rankings to mobile friendly site. And that's why it's so important. It's so important that businesses get proper mobile friendly websites. They get as much SEO put into them. They get good reviews and put them right into their mobile websites. And that's the only way that you're going to get Google love, if you do all those things. So this is the changes that are taking place already that have been announced by Google. So this will just continue. Now, if you want to know if your website is mobile friendly, you can go to this google.com Webmasters Tool mobile friendly tester right here. You put your URL in here, you press analyze, and Google will tell you if your if your website is mobile friendly. And so here is what happens. This is a couple of tests that I ran, and they are not mobile friendly, both of them. And Google tells you on the first one on the left, it tells you text too small to read, links too close together, and mobile viewport, which we talked about earlier, not set. In the one on the right, there are those three, but there's another one, content wider than the screen, which means that this website here, you need to push it left and right in order to read it. All right, so not only does it have a small text, as you can see on the screen, it has links close together because everything's kind of squashed together. Obviously, it's the desktop site being reduced to this very small screen. Viewport not set, which means it doesn't look good on all the screens. And of course, your content is, in this case, sliding left and right, and Google doesn't want that. But of course, if you have a site that's mobile friendly, you will get this awesome, this page is mobile friendly message from Google. Okay, these are just a couple of websites we built, but there's a lot of other ones out there. So what are your options? Well, first thing you do, you go and check your site with Google Mobile Friendly Tool, as I showed you there. And then you go and check your site on different devices. Because there are 3 different technologies out there. There's the Apple iOS, there's the Google Android, and there's the BlackBerry. And what you want to make sure that your mobile site is built so that it can be mobile friendly on all 3 platforms. Because you don't know where your customer is coming from, right? I mean, 30% of users have Apple devices, but the majority is Android, and of course BlackBerry seem to be kind of reviving itself. So, and BlackBerry is important in a sense that it is associated with a higher income group. So you want to make sure you're seen on all those. And then when you check all the sites, make note of all the errors, go back to whoever did your site, and just tell them that you need to correct those errors. All right? That means all those things that we mentioned before. When you have your lines too close together so that you can't click them individually, there are phone numbers that are not clickable on iOS, but they may be clickable on Android. And so you want to make sure that they are configured so that they can be clickable on iOS. All right? So it just takes a little bit of work. And if you don't have if you have an Android, but you don't have an Apple or a BlackBerry, I'm sure you have friends that have them, right? So next time you with your friends, just say, by the way, can I just check my website, right? And make note of the errors. Then you make a decision. If you have an old website and you just need to get a new one, then I would suggest you build it in a responsive way, theme, and of course add the dynamic part to it, which means that there's going to have to be some adjustments on the mobile part of the responsive, what needs to be done. Or if you have a great website that you love and nothing wrong with it, everything's working perfectly, then just build a new mobile friendly site. Now it says here backwards compatible. Now what this means is that we can build standalone mobile friendly website that is backward compatible that if you don't have a desktop site, it will show on a tablet and a desktop, right? So if you don't have a website at all, then you would build a backward compatible mobile friendly. Otherwise, you build a mobile friendly standalone site and redirect to your main site. A little bit of technology stuff, don't worry about it. That's basically how it works. If you have a good site, build a mobile friendly site, and if you don't have any sites, then build a mobile friendly backward compatible. There we go, that'll do it. Okay, now oh, that's interesting how this comes up. I want to show you this because this is always test, right? We're talking about testing. So in this case, this has passed the test, Google test, as a responsive site. But this phone number is not clickable. And in this case, these phone numbers are not clickable. Neither are any of those phone numbers on this page. So here you are, you test your site and comes back as mobile friendly. You rub your hands, great. I got a good site, no problem. I don't need to do anything. That's not the case. You got to go and check it out. You got to test it on all 3 devices. Trust me, they do not show the same. All depends how they're built, but unless they're specifically built in HTML, HTML goes across all devices. If you build a mobile website in HTML, you are sure it's going to show up on BlackBerry, Android, and iOS the same way. Now, what should mobile websites do? I mean, some people will say, oh, I'm okay. They can see me on mobile fine. But you got to think about it. Why do you have a website in the first place? I mean, your desktop site, what is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to get you some customers? Is it just supposed to be there because because you want to have a website, like everybody says you should have one? I mean, websites are advertising for us. It's like newspaper, television, radio. It's supposed to get new customers, right? And the same thing goes with the mobile. Mobile is a perfect tool because right now 30% of the population doesn't have anything else but their smartphone. And if they're going to do business with you, they're going to do it from the smartphone or their tablet, right? So a mobile website should provide ease and speedy upload. You want to be fast. According to some statistics, you got 5 seconds to show up in a way that a user can find it mobile friendly. It should have ease of navigation. It should provide lead generation. How are you going to collect the leads? It should feature, of course, videos are huge. YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world after Google, and Google owns it. You put YouTube videos on your mobile website optimized for mobile, Google's going to love it. Offer reports, mobile optimized coupons. You should have social media connections. If you run a blog or a Twitter, you can use RSS to bring it right into the mobile. Well, RSS, I don't know if you know how that works. Really, it's just you can connect via RSS to a tweet or a blog, and then it will show up on your website, or in this case, it will show up on a mobile website. So you can have a Twitter running on your mobile phone using RSS, which means really simple syndication. Now, what should mobile website look like? Well, here's an example of the one on the left that is not mobile friendly, didn't pass the test. So we created one that is Nextdoor, right? So you see the difference. Now, how easy it is to navigate with our fat fingers. And two of the most important things that you have to have, or three most important things, depending on the business. Certainly call us. Buttons should be there all the time. Prominent, they want to call you, they call you. Just click on that. Find us. If you're a brick and mortar business where you expect customers to come to your place, like if you're a restaurant or some kind of a retail business, obviously you want to give them the map. Find us, right? There should be another button there for email if you want to, right? And you can email right from your phone because you have the software in your phone. You can email them right away. And of course, there's other pages there that can, and you can have many pages on a mobile phone. But the biggest thing is that they're organized, because we're dealing with a small screen and we don't want to. Sometimes you get on some of the responsive sites, and you just scroll and scroll and scroll forever, and after a while you just lose your orientation. You don't know where you are and how to get back. You get back to the home page. You can do that. Now you paste again with the scrolling forever. So you got to be, you got to make it really easy for people to navigate. And of course, on the left side, this is our tester. We can show you what it looks like on Android, on a Windows phone, or a BlackBerry, because I forgot to mention the Windows phone. They're getting kind of active as well. And so this is built in HTML5, which is the best for mobile devices. So there you go. If you want to learn more about what we do, you can go to mobisitesnow.com. You can learn about, we have quite a bit of stuff on responsive sites and features. You can learn about mobile-friendly sites and features. And of course, if anyone on this webinar wants to get a free assessment of your digital media, just send me an email with the subject free assessment 417, and I'll be happy to get it done for you. There's no charge, and I don't expect anything from you, so just part of my service to you, so that you're aware of what you have, and what is it that your customers are actually seeing, and what is it customers can be using. And don't forget that let's say you're selling your business and you have a good website. In the past, it's an asset, right? A good website that's working is an asset. Well, let me tell you, a good mobile site that is working, collecting leads, and having a shopping cart if you need one, I didn't mention that, is a bigger asset. It will be a bigger asset than actually your desktop site. Why? Well, because everything's moving to mobile. And already 30% of people will not go on a desktop to try to find you. So a good website will create an asset for your company. So when the time comes for you to sell, that has value. All right. That's all for me. Thank you very much for coming. I'm open for you to send me an email. If you'd like to ask me any other questions, that would be great. And that is all. I will stop sharing the screen, and there you are. Thank you for coming, and we'll have the other tools that we have, and you're welcome to come along. You'll be invited, and just to learn more about how things are changing and how your consumer is changing from what we used to know to a mobile consumer. Good night, and for the ones that are in Vancouver, you can go and watch the hockey game.